You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. There are some planting mistakes or blunders that rookie gardeners or new gardeners to the area I find it's a consistent theme. I thought I'd share just a few of them, not all of them. There's not enough time. I'd take a lifetime. You learn gardening by making mistakes, by the way. You can read all you want, tune into the podcast, get the radio show, read the column. We do all of that, and you will become much smarter, much quicker, fast. You want to up your game fast, do that. Just follow me wherever, and you'll get better for this local, regional area of gardening. We'll help you get better. And it's adapting to the sun, the wind, the alkalinity, the north, south, east, west. I mean, most people in the garden in the country are dealing with flat. They don't have north, south, east, west. They have just flat. Here we do have a north side hill. Your neighbors on the west side will be different than the east side, yet that affects you. So how do you adapt to that quickly? But some real key things. The first mistake I find people make, especially if you just retired and you've been thinking about gardening, you've tried a little bit, you finally sold your house there and you bought your dream home here, and now you've got time and the resources to truly dedicate to gardening. It's really, gardening's about time. And so you could do this. What I find, whether it's a new houseplant gardener, new tomato, new trees, new gardeners, they are obsessed about watering. Plants are not puppy dogs. They very few need water every day. Maybe your real shallow containered flowers out on the back deck in the full sun. Yeah, they might. But a new tree, it does not like water every day. It likes a deep soak. These are slow moving. They are alive, but they aren't as active as a puppy, as a new Labrador retriever or whatever. They're not a puppy. It's a tree. And so they are going to take up water slowly. They pulsate water about a foot a day. They'll push water up. So if you're fertilizing a plant, it's going to take up those nutrients, and then slowly, about a foot a day, it's going to take it. And finally, it'll get up to, if it's a big 12-foot tree, it might take almost 2 weeks for that plant to be fully. So it's using that water, the nutrients, everything pulsates through this plant slowly. And so if you're watering every single day that plant, and you're filling up all those air pockets with water molecules, that plant can drown. And so houseplants, they do not like water every day. About once a week is about right. Maybe every 2 weeks if it's a real hardy aloe or some of these ZZ plants. These are hardy. That's why we use them in commercial settings, because you can neglect them and they still look great. But if you're watering them every day, they'll drop some leaves, they'll turn yellow, they'll get wispy, they'll stop blooming, they'll drop their fruits. There's all indications of I'm overwatering. Be careful not to overdo it or be overzealous with your watering. When you do give them water, give them a lot. Really load it up so that water gets pushed through the entire root zone. You might even get a water meter to check it to make sure you did that well enough. But kind of watch that one. The other one is, right now, if you're new to gardening, I'm going to have a compost pile. This is great. I'm going to take this and compost it. I'm going to free like mocha gold out there. Well, whatever you do, don't take weed seeds and try to compost them. It's just a problem waiting to happen. So that's a mistake I've seen folks make. They adding these weeds. They let them get too big. They're cutting them off, and they add that composted material. It just takes so long to get them to compost down so the weeds are killed. It's easy to make a mistake. Another one is using free manure. Free manure is great. It's free as long as it's composted first. If you don't compost manure for about a season or about a year, or at least 6, 7, 8 months, it's very hot. And then typically we're using, this is equestrian country, this is horse country. Horses, that whatever they eat, it comes out the other end. And all the seed are there, all the hay seed, all the straw. I mean, it's all there. And so you're now taking that fresh manure, adding that to the top of your gardens. And now all of a sudden you've got this alfalfa field, not a garden. And now you're fighting the grass coming through it. If you compost it first, it gets rid of all that. Plus, there's this ginormous, I mean, it is the biggest grub I have ever seen that loves horse manure. He gets in there and it's like a 4 to 5 inch grub, white organic. It looks like an alien life form is laying and now living inside this manure pile. Is going to come up and suck you on your jugular vein. It's just scary looking. Well, they do like to eat the roots on your plants. I've had several customers pick up this glorious new free load in their pickup truck and take it over, add that to the garden. And they added the grubs that were living there and introduced them to their new gardens here. So just compost it first, and they're all baked out of that. If you use it fresh, that's just kind of school of hard knocks. I've just seen that happen too many times. I just want to share that with friends. My name's Ken. We're just friends talking over the back fence. This has kind of worked for me. And here's some things I don't want you to make a mistake with. I want you to have better, more successful gardens. Another one right now, gardeners that are new to gardening, they're afraid of pruning, especially this time of year. Don't be afraid. Plants they're like plants are like a beautiful woman. They go to the salon, they come out even more glorious than before. Well, plants, they like to be frosted and tinted and trimmed and cropped, and they love that. Plants feel more beautiful when you give them a haircut. You keep them shaped. They bloom better if you take those spent, old, raggedy flowers off. They'll bloom again for you. If you got a big old branch hanging to the ground, cut it off. It'll actually grow out of it and come back even more beautiful. So don't be afraid. What the book says, here's the years of education. You can prune up to 10% of the foliage mass anytime you want. Peak of summer, it's going to be 100 today. You can prune 10% of the foliage mass. So that's a lot, actually. That's a major branch. That's a major haircut. In the winter, you're pruning that heavy pruning. So in the winter, when it's dormant, you could prune up to 30% or a third of the foliage mass. That's a major pruning. It's like, I'm going to really thin this apple tree out. I'm going to really cut back this juniper hedge. I'm going to really cut back. Light pruning now, heavy pruning in the winter. Don't be afraid. You can hardly make a mistake with plants. And so you could fertilize your way out of any mistake you might have made. So don't be afraid to cut back. The other one is just ignoring where plants like or just not talking. We put them in the ground and I ignore them. You got to these are living plants. They're reacting to where you put them in the ground. And so they like certain areas and they dislike certain areas. And if you're not sure, and it starts with sun and shade, those are the obvious ones. I love the plant. I went to the garden center. I went, oh, I love hydrangeas. It's so pretty. And then I go put it out in full sun. Oh, they are not going to like that here. Our elevation just bakes them. I know they do that in the Midwest, but here at this elevation, we're a mile high. They're at sea level. That's a mile's worth of atmosphere of sun that just bakes. You're close to the sun up here, and it bakes your hydrangeas. But if you put them in the shade, oh, they thrive. They just love it. They love the bright reflective sun coming off of there. So you got to put them in the right place. And then you just don't want to ignore them. So for mine, my hydrangea, just talking hydrangeas, this is any plant really though, but my hydrangea, put them in the ground, not in a container, my back patio, north facing, it's shaded, and it bloomed its heart out. And then the flowers started to fade. So I cut them back. I was working with them. I didn't ignore you. Go, no, you felt so beautiful. Let me help you be beautiful again. Fertilize them with we make a fancy fertilizer for flowering things called Flower Power. I know that the name's not very original, but Flower Power really does make things bloom well. And so gave it some Flower Power a couple times, and now it is in full bloom again. Just like that. Don't ignore your plants. Put them in, and if they're reacting, help them. Maybe we might have put them in the wrong place, or maybe they got a bug, or maybe there's something in the soil, or it's reacting. Maybe it's just stressed out, and you need to give it a little. There's some additives called Root and Grow that kind of makes things, kind of stabilizes them. It's kind of like an IV for plants. So you can give them an IV and make them come back for you. Plants do not want to die. They will live if at all possible. You have to kill them for them to die, because they're going to come back if at all possible. And it's just reacting, not ignoring them, but reacting to it and helping them come out of that. Anyway, it's the Blunders. I don't want you to make a mistake. Water's garden companion plants for August are radio red salvias, butterfly bush, and trumpeting vine.
Large clusters of red and orange flowers create a dramatic show all season long with Water's trumpet vine.
This vigorous vine thrives in heat and blooms profusely with neglect.
Quickly covers large areas as a ground cover, spilling over retaining walls, screening a fence, or cloaking arbors.
Guaranteed to attract more hummingbirds and only found at Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.